It's time for another Dice Tower review with Z. Garcia.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today I'm taking a look at a card game called Cannon Buster. And Cannon Buster here is from Gary Kim, designer Gary Kim, and it is an evolution of a card game that I have enjoyed, and it's still in fact in my collection, called Choreo. Choreo uses the same core mechanisms as this, or rather this uses those core mechanisms. And the idea is you are given cards, you pick just a couple from there, display them in front of you, and try to have more than other players of the different kinds of cards. They allow you different powers, different scoring opportunities. Now, this has taken that game, simplified it, streamlined it, made it a much faster and simpler family-style game. Is it a good one? Does it succeed at packaging what I thought Choreo brought to the table into a much simpler family weight system? Let's find out. Let's take a look. We'll come on back after that, and I'll tell you what I thought of it. So here's what the game looks like, mostly set up ready to begin. The game's going to be played over 6 rounds, and at the end of those 6 rounds, we're going to score up, see who the winner is. The victory points are going to come from 1 victory point for each of these coins. Victory points, or gold coins printed on the back of these. Like this one has a single one. Some of them have 2 or 3. Some of them are actually worthless. And then also having the most of the different kinds of pirates. In the deck of cards here, there is 1 1, 2 2, 3 3s, and so on up to 8 8s. And at the end of the game, if you have the most of one kind, you get that many victory points. So whoever has the most 6s gets 6 gold coins, 6 victory points at the end of the game. You add all that up, you see who the winner is, all right? So you are going to, each round, be dealt a number of cards. You are going to pick 3. You are going to display those 3 simultaneously with everyone else. And then we'll assign powers to whoever has the most of each kind. And then we are going to, using the star player marker here, we're going to go around the table, triggering those powers. And then you might have to discard down to a limit of how many cards can be in front of you at the end of the round. After that, go to the next round. That's basically it. The 8 has no power associated with it. They only give you this for the very end of the game. And so you're supposed to use it to keep track of what round you are on, all right? So just know that. I'll leave it over here for now. I've already dealt out the opening 9 cards to each player, and so every player is going to pick 3 cards, which I've already put on top of the decks. And then everyone puts 1, 2, 3. They discard the rest, like so. And then we are going to reveal all of those simultaneously like this. And you simply group up the like cards into their own stacks. So there we go. And then this player picked a 4, a cannon, and an 8. There we go. There's also, by the way, in the deck, you're going to have some cannons. And I'll explain those in just 1 second. Once this is all done, we are going to go through the numbers and assign them. So the 1, there's a single 1. This player has it. 2s, no one played any 2s. 3s, no one played any 3s. 4s, that player has a 4, so they'll get this. 5s, no one picked it. 6s, I picked 2 of them, so this is mine. 7s, no one played those. And again, the 8s would actually not even be here. There's no power. It would just sit there, okay? And now, we actually trigger these powers. So the 6 lets me get a gold coin from the supply here. So I get a gold coin, and that's it. Then I can put this back. Done. Easy peasy. Then it's this player. Oh, and by the way, if I had any cannons, I would then fire those cannons. In this case, the 3 cards that I picked here do not have any cannons. This player says that they get the number 4, gets them a gold coin per cannon. So, of course, they played the 4 and 8 cannon. Makes sense. So they get 1 gold coin. And then they are going to fire that cannon. There's 3 kinds of cannons in the game. There's one that hits one player. There's one that hits everybody else, every other opponent. And there's a risky cannon that might hit you first. But if it does not hit you, you hit someone else, and you get a gold coin out of that. So, this player's going to roll, and you roll the die for every cannon you have. They rolled an 8. They pick who they attack. They're going to hit me. I discard my 8. If they have rolled a 5, let's say, no one has 5s, and so nothing happens. They don't hit anyone. So they got rid of my 8. I discard that into the discard pile, just the regular deck, and they're done. And we go to the last player. The 1 says that they get one of these. These would be shuffled up and they would take one. They can look at it, but they keep it hidden. And that's the only power they used, and they have a cannon themselves. This one hits everyone else. That's the mega cannon there. So they roll it, 8s. This player has an 8, and so that's gone. If I still had my 8, that would also be gone. That one hits everybody else. And the round is over. We need to discard down to 3. And we go to the very next round, in which everyone is we're going to shuffle this up. Everyone gets dealt 8 cards, and you'll be able to keep at the end of the round 4 cards. The top number, how many you are dealt, continues to go down. How many you are allowed to keep in front of you continues to go up. That is it. You keep doing that until the end of the game. The only thing you don't know yet is what all the powers do, so let's talk about those very briefly. Starting with the number 1, which you've already seen, you get one of these. The number 2 lets you steal one of these treasure tokens from someone else. The number 3 lets you steal a cannon from someone else. Number 4, you already saw, gets you a gold coin per cannon you have. The number 5 lets you destroy a cannon on the table. The number 6 gets you a gold coin. The number 7 lets you switch one of your cannons with someone else's, which is not a great power, but it is 7s, which means 7 victory points. And the 8 the 8 token has no power because you're just hoping to have the most of those at the end of the game. During the very final round, you don't have to discard any cards. There is no limit on the table. And you assign these one final time to figure out victory points. So let's say, for the sake of argument here, that the cards I have in front of me I have the most 5s. So let me grab another one here, and let's say that I had the most 6s, and I had a 4, and I had an 8. Let's go with that. So this is what my display looks like here at the end. I know this is upside down to you, but go with me on this one. Here's my score. Let's say I don't have the most 8s. I don't have the most 4s. Let's say I do have the most 6s. I would take this. And let's say I have the most 5s. I'll take that. This cannon here is the final cannon you have not seen. When you roll this cannon, if you roll a number you have, it hurts you. Not good. If you roll and you don't have that number, then you can hit someone else and get you a gold coin. And at the end of the game, this is worth +2 if you still own it, which is why you might want to steal or trade cannons, okay? So let's say I have that as well. My final score would be 1, nothing, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 5 is 10, plus 6 is 16. That's how you play the game. So let's go back up top and let me tell you what I thought about Cannon Buster. All right, so let's talk about it using our target audience system here. I'm going to start with thematic ties. This one has a fairly silly, straightforward theme, but it works just fine. It did not need anything else. The pirate theme here works. It's cute, it's attractive, it's engaging. I think it's not going to be off-putting to just about anybody. It's very accessible, so I think it achieves part of what it set out to do. Again, be a family-style game. The aesthetics here, which also includes the quality of the components, I think is fantastic. Except for maybe the card quality could be a little bit higher, but it's not bad. It's just noticeable among the other nice parts in the game. The die is lovely. You have the nice chunky tokens for the player powers, the different pirate powers. Those are very nice. And that's basically it. Cardboard tokens are pleasant. They're fine. So card quality, the component quality is good overall. And the aesthetics, the artwork, I think is very nice. It is cartoony. It's pleasant. It's bright and colorful. Very much enjoy the look of it. The only thing I thought was not ideal as far as the quality of the components goes is the insert. I thought it was a very bad insert. Unfortunately, there's a few things that don't quite fit back in as well as they should, and yet there's a ton of wasted space by the insert. I'm just going to throw it out myself. All right, moving on to replayability and scalability. I think both are very nice. The replayability is there. It's going to be a nice game you can bring out with the family, with the kids, and play over and over. And once they know what the powers are on the pirates, which is very easy to figure out, then you can quickly knock this one out. And the scalability is good as well. It works well with all player counts. The game length is nice and tight. There is not a lot of downtime here. You are quickly going to go through the turns, and so I enjoy that very much. That's one of the things I thought they took from Choreo, which was certainly not a long game, but there were several steps and several moments of decisions that were a little bit slightly more involved and were streamlined into a game that is just incredibly quick and tight. The ease of play, which involves fiddliness or if there's any weird design choices, anything like that, I think it's easy to play. I think that using the 8 token marker, the 8 pirate thing, as the one that marks the rounds is perhaps a little bit of a weird design choice, but not a problematic one. It's one of those things that you kind of have to, I just hide the thing, or something if I'm going to teach with, if I'm going to play with the kids. Because it's easy to simply say, well, there's no 8 token because it doesn't give you a power. And you could track the rounds with anything, Anyway, again, not a problem. The only other thing is that the system now is very, very canon heavy. Canon heavy. Like, that's the one point of interaction among the players. Some of the players I played with thought there's too many cannons in the deck of cards. It's happening too much. But since it is based on a die roll, I don't have a problem. You're not going to be picked on all the time because your number won't come up. If you try to have one card in each number, then yeah, but you're probably not winning at that point. You really want to focus. And then lastly, tactics and strategy. I think this has a lot of the same tactics as the original Choreo game. However, a lot more luck in this one, partly because of the die roll. The card drafting is mostly the same, but the die roll is going to bring into play a lot more luck. That's okay for me, for this style of game, for what it attempts to do. Anybody can win, and that's the idea. It's sort of what it's trying to bring to the table. But yeah, there's luck, and if you don't like the luck in this style of quote-unquote drafting game, then this is probably not for you. You want to stick with the original or any other drafting game, really. So that's basically it for Cannon Buster. I did enjoy. This is one I was excited about because I'm a fan of the original, right? But the original I have a hard time getting to the table because the powers on the characters are a little too different. There's a little too much going on, and it's one that I have a bit of a tricky time teaching and bringing to the table. There was a sequel to that one which I thought really upped that complexity and fiddliness. I actually don't own that one anymore. Did not like the sequel to Choreo. But I was happy to hear about this one, and I'm happy I played it, and I do enjoy it. This is one that I could certainly play with, say, my nephews, the family, and they'll get this. Choreo I could not have had that success with. My little bit of a niggling issue I have is that the powers, from the 1 to the 7, are perhaps a little samey. The cannon stuff especially, right? It's take a cannon, destroy a cannon, switcheroo a cannon. Okay, there maybe could have been one more little design choice that would have differentiated the characters a bit, but I am sort of working against the spirit of the game at that point, which is simply collect some cards, blow the other player's stuff away. And that's fine, that works well. I like having the 3 different cannon types as well, that's nice. So, that's it for me. This one is going to get a seal of approval. I do enjoy very much. I hope it sees some success. And I think if you enjoy the attractive look and you like this card drafting and dice chucking feel, you are going to enjoy Cannon Buster yourself. Once again, seal of approval. Look into it, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.